joining me on the 7th episode of All of Our Appearances Have Been Canceled. It's the Not So Pageanty pageant interview show. I'm Marilisa Beatty. I'm Mrs. Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, America, 2020. See here, Mrs. Phoenixville. And I am here with an incredible woman, Mrs. Castle Pines, Colorado, America, 2020. The Yen Factor herself, Yen Adams. How are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for inviting me and having me a part of this show. It's been great watching all your episodes.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, thank you so for being a part of it. Just for some background for anybody watching, you and I had the opportunity to meet and hang out a bit last year, particularly backstage, because I think our contestant numbers were directly next to each other. So 4 and 5. So,
And she was hard to follow after. Let's be honest. I was.
Well, you did amazing, and you placed top 12 in your first try, which is fantastic. But I had just so much fun getting to stand in line with you, frankly, and you really brought a great light to everybody's pageant experience, but especially mine. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. So Yen, if you've seen the show, you know I'm going to ask you a bunch of just super random questions in a minute. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to anybody watching and just tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I'm Yen Adams, Mrs. Castle Pines. I have 2 daughters that I just love to bits, and they are just the best little girls. But I feel a lot of pressure being the role model for them. 2 young girls looking up to you, and so I feel that I have to lead by example. And one thing that I've been doing is I began training for Ironmans because my daughter saw their Uncle Jim cross the Boulder Ironman and looked up to me and asked, "Can women be an Ironman? You know, they're so literal." And I said, "Of course, watch me." I, I didn't know how to swim. I was a doggy paddler to the short end of the pool. I rode a beach cruiser to get around, so at least I knew how to bike in that sense. But getting on aero bars and a road bike and clipping in, wow, that was a learning curve. So just being an example for my daughter and finishing my first Ironman a couple of years ago kind of set the tone of the role model and the woman I want to be for them and for other women as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That story actually gives me chills. And I think, was that one of your onstage facts last year?
Yes, yeah.
So I kind of remember standing there in the complete this and overhearing this story. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, that is so wonderful. But I just had to kind of stand with pretty feet and, just try to pretend like I didn't want to cry emotional tears of joy for you. So that's awesome. Well, thank you for being such an inspiration. I hope that anybody who gets to watch this gets to learn a little bit more about Yen, because I have learned that she's an incredible woman and a great role model. So thank you again for being here. So Yen, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to ask you a number of pretty random questions, but they don't be scared. They cut across a few different categories. So the first category is kind of pageanty things. The second category I call Hey You, which is really just questions about your opinions and experiences. Then I have a guest question. Following that, a question from the category called Just Silliness, which really has nothing to do with anything. It's just a question to throw out there to see what you think. And finally, there's a quick fire challenge. Well, I'll just ask you 5 quick questions, and I change that category for everybody, but I'll tell you what yours is when we get there. I promise I'm not trying to trap you.
No, that's okay. This is good. Okay, let's do it.
You'll be fine. All right, let's all breathe. Okay, so starting with pageanty things. So you and we both had our first pageant experience last year, right? And I don't know about you, but I really didn't necessarily know what to expect from pageant weekend, specifically what to expect from the other women I would meet. And I think mostly that's based on how media portrays pageant women and pageantry in general. So my first question for you is, why do you think the media portrays pageantry so poorly?
Oh my God, are you serious? Well, here's a quick story. Not a quick story, but when I was younger, I am a Vietnamese refugee, very poor, and I remember watching this on TV. And there's a lot of beautiful blondes and blues and statuesque and elegantly, spoken. And I always admire and dream to be that, and I never thought that I had the chance to ever be that, being, a little Vietnamese, couldn't speak the English back then.
Hmm.
And so with time, that was the image, since because we're at that age now when we were young girls watching it.
Yeah.
And so we're, I think over the years, pageantry has kind of changed a little bit. And so the image has changed because people like myself and other ladies that I've met last year who don't quote unquote fit the mold are changing it. Look at our current Mrs. Colorado. Not the tall blonde blue. She is Army. I mean, not Army. She's Air Force.
Hmm.
Badass. Just crushing it. And so I feel that we have this opportunity to change the way pageantry looks now. And so I guess there's a lot of negative images of pageantry, but that was, I think, the last decade or so. I don't think it's that now. Look at the current Miss Universe. She's gorgeous,
Yes.
gorgeous.
Stunning.
So with that being said, I think we are changing the tone and the pace. And one reason why I decided to do it last year, again, as being a role model for my daughters, is
Hmm.
that I always kind of wanted to walk that stage and, have the crown. And so I kind of let prejudice and fear and stigma stopped me. But having two young girls looking at me as a role model, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So I'm not sure if I answered your
You
question.
did. No, you
Um,
did. Did. That was good. All right. Good. So this one I think maybe is a little easier, but we'll
oh
see.
dear.
So I want you to envision there's a male pageant,
Okay.
um, and I'm going to tell you who the top three contestants are, and I want you to tell me who you think would win and why. If any of these people you don't happen to know, if you're not familiar with him, let me know. So there's Chris Hemsworth. He plays Thor in the Marvel universe. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
Okay. There's Paul Rudd.
Okay.
He never ages.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's another actor. Okay.
Yeah. So all of these three guys actually are in the Marvel comic universe, but the third is Ryan Reynolds. Do you know who that is?
Oh yeah, he's the one who's married to Eva
Blake
Mendes.
Lively. He's
Pardon me?
married to Blake Lively. He
Oh, Blake
plays
Lively.
Deadpool.
Okay, I was thinking Ryan Gosling. Okay, okay.
Okay, so it's Chris Hemsworth, Paul Rudd, and Ryan Reynolds. They're the top three. Who do you think would win and why?
Well, oh my God. See, I like the smart, funny type guy. So I don't know whether Chris Hemsworth is funny or smart. He's just very handsome and he surfs. So I like surfing. So physically, I think he'll win.
Mhm.
Paul Rudd, he is very charismatic, very easy, very natural. So definitely he gets the all American look. But Ryan Reynolds, I think he's all encompassing because I know he's married to Blake Lively and she has two daughters. I think they have a third on the way. I can't
I feel
remember.
like she's pregnant more often than not. I don't know. Every time I see her, she's either just had a baby or she's pregnant, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, and so it's just he he he's one of those dads, girl dads. Is that what they're called? I don't know, but he's just around surround because he was quarantined with I think the mom,
Uh,
Blake, and they were like, "How do you like being around all these women?" He goes, "I love it. It's
yeah.
great." And he supports them, and just the way he looks at Blake, just the
Yeah.
eyes, and it's love.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll pick him.
He's got the whole
Yeah,
package. Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
like.
He's very handsome.
All right, yeah. So, and he is. I've been watching him for years, and I'm always like, man, he seems like a good guy. I think he also does a lot of charity work, which is always a plus.
And I like
All right.
how they joke with each other on like
Yeah.
the Instagram or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but
I hope they
I don't
last.
follow him personally, but I get little snippets of him.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't avoid celebrity. news. I don't know how I know so much about the Kardashians. I've never seen one episode of the Kardashians. You can't avoid it. Like headlines about the Kardashians just show up in front of your face, and like, why do I know so much about these people? I really don't. That's not where I invest my time. Anyway, I
Okay,
digress.
as we
Anyway,
sidetracked.
all right. So the third category is called my favorite picture of you, and it's when I stalk your social media and I pick my favorite picture of you, and then I ask you to tell us all a little bit about it. But for you, this is kind of a cheat because I know a little bit about this picture, but I think it's worth others hearing about it.
Okay.
So here's my favorite picture of you.
Ah!
Look at how
That
gorgeous.
doesn't even look like me.
You look freaking exactly the same right now. Beautiful. So tell us about this. What is this?
Oh my goodness. So there's this fabulous photographer, Jeremy Real, that I was introduced by you.
Yes.
And he's doing a exhibition for 40 women over 40. And I did it. I love it. I've never had professional pictures done. It was I had a few friends who uh, who were going to do it too, and I said, make sure you stretch because all the pose,
Hi.
because you're like,
Yeah, making interesting shapes with your body.
no, but I just got that done recently, and I was very pleased. I think he did a good job capturing me. I've never seen myself as that. I
Mm.
see myself as Yin, an Iron Man, a mom. I work with people with dementia. I wear scrubs, things like that. And to see that picture, it's like, holy cow, who's that? I think he captured the inner, I don't know, tiger in me.
Isn't he wonderful too? He's so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I can't speak enough of him. He's fantastic.
Yeah. I when I saw he was making that project happen, I knew immediately I wanted to try to tell everybody I could in Colorado about it. So I'm glad you did it. But my one funny Jeremy story is that he did my pageant headshot, and I had never had an experience like that before either. And I also feel very uncomfortable in front of cameras as well. So he was doing my pictures. I was feeling awkward. I was looking awkward. And finally, I start getting sassy. And he's like, "Ooh, can you raise your eyebrow?" So I
Yeah.
tried to raise my eyebrow. He's like, "Never do that again. Never do that again." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jeremy." Anyway, he got
He's
it. He
funny.
managed to get at least one good photo of me because I'm like seriously a spaz in front of a still camera. But
But
anyway,
thank you for introducing me to him. Oh my goodness, I wanted to buy all of it. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
uh, he's so good. All right, well, let's go on. So now we're going to the category called Hey You. These are just kind of some random questions about your thoughts and your opinions. Okay, so if you can remember, there was a time before COVID where we were allowed to be out in public. And when you're out in public, occasionally you can overhear other people's conversations, and sometimes their conversations are insane. So, for example, one time I was on a flight, and this woman behind me talked like the whole 3 hours, and I heard her whole life story, which resulted in, I think her mom murdered her dad by burning down his trailer. It was crazy, and she was talking about it like it was like, a funny offhand story to this stranger. My question for you is, can you remember kind of the craziest or weirdest thing you've ever overheard?
Oh my goodness, dude, that's hard. Let me think. Well, let me think. Oh, someone proposed to someone, and she said no.
Oh no. Oh
That's
no.
cringy. I
Yeah.
think that is memorable.
Gosh.
Um, oh my God. So yes, there was that.
That counts.
Um,
That's so sad.
oh, and another one was this was recently in Texas. I went to visit Elizabeth Tulin, Mrs.
Mhm.
Wyoming, And I was in the bathroom stall, and one girl was talking about she's tired of being the mistress, things like that. And I was just, that's
And you
sad.
know what? You never know who's in the stall next to you. I
Yeah.
mean, anybody could have overheard that. She doesn't know if the wrong person could have overheard that. And
Yeah. So I that was interesting, and I left. I opened the stall, and I think I said because we had a few beverages, and I was like, girlfriend, you gotta love yourself.
yeah,
Like, stop. You can't be number two. Stop it.
yeah.
So
Wow. Okay, that's
it
juicy.
was a wild night. That was a wild night.
I like that. All right. If magic were real, like Harry Potter style magic were real, what spell would you want to learn first?
Oh my goodness, the one that you can transport yourself to be somewhere, anywhere quick. Like I would hold shoe and spin and get nauseous as long as I'd land somewhere that I want to be, or that dust thing to go in the chimney. Like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's what I do.
good one. I like that. Teleportation feels like it should be a technology we have now, but I guess not.
But I watched The Fly when I was younger, and so a lot can go wrong.
Well, that is true. We watched The Fly recently, and I guess I was finally at the age. So when it, I mean, I was too young when it. I don't even know if I was born when it initially came out, and then I watched it. I was way too young. But anyway, I saw it as an adult, and I was like, young Jeff Goldblum was looking good. How was I to know that? But as an adult, I was like, whoa, okay.
Oh yeah, my old man crush is Robert Redford. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's very handsome. He's very handsome. Well, we can invite them to the feast that's in this next question. So, if
Okay.
an epic feast were thrown in your honor, what would be on the table?
Oh my goodness. I'm a big seafood person. So anything seafood, sushi, lobsters, crabs, shrimp, just seafood galore. Yeah, all of it. And a lot of red and white wine.
I want to come. I want to
Yes,
come to this feast.
yes.
I would be right on the crab section, like all day, all day. All right. So now, this next category is the guest question, and this question comes from my friend Paul in Boulder. Hi, Paul in Boulder. He actually has produced many of these guest questions. He's like my sidekick at this point. Paul wants
Okay.
to know:
Okay.
is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, wow. See, I always understood a sandwich as being flat.
Okay.
So that's my idea of a sandwich. I know like a hoagie sandwich is kind of round, but if you squish it, it's flat. It becomes flat because it's the bread that makes it round, right?
Okay.
But if you squish the hot dog is still round.
Ew. I
So
can't even think about just like getting a hot dog in a bun and just squishing it and being like, yep, this is the sandwich I want today.
oh my God. But I have to admit though, hot dogs are one of my guilty pleasures.
Like good.
I absolutely love hot dogs. Just
There we
love
go.
it. Relish, ketchup, and onions. But anyhow, to
You
answer his
could
question,
split.
no,
What if you
no.
split the hot
But if
dog?
you slice it and you
Then
put
that's a
two
sandwich.
on the same, yeah, then that's a sandwich. I think
Okay.
it's just the way it's presented.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
seriously, bologna is hot dog. It's
Yeah.
just
Huh. Okay. Okay. I like that logic. So wait, just so I can make sure I can understand this. So if you got a hoagie in its original shape, is that a sandwich or is it only a sandwich if you squish it?
because you have to squish it to eat it. Therefore, it becomes squish. Sandwich.
Before it becomes a sandwich. Okay. I can follow your logic. I think it's perfect. Okay. Now we're in the category called just silliness, but frankly, I feel like I've given you a lot of silly questions, so you've uh, you've had to work pretty hard today. All right, I like this one. If animals could talk, which do you think would be the most annoying?
Oh, squirrel.
Mm,
They just nonstop.
they're annoying
Just
now, yeah.
like if it's like, okay, I'm gonna go get that, just chill.
Yeah,
I think that would be so annoying. Just anything like fast pace.
really fast paced. What do you think a woodpecker would be like?
I do have woodpeckers in my property here. I don't know. Why do they peck the wood
I think
anyways?
that's
Is
how they
it
get,
more
I believe, and people can tell me if I'm wrong, I think that's how they get their bugs to eat. But every time I hear a woodpecker, we have a lot around here, I kind of think like, bro, there's easier ways to get bugs. I mean, there's other birds finding their food without literally pecking their brains out on a hard tree. But, do what you got to do.
right? Okay. I thought they poke the holes in the tree to store their acorns, but they don't eat
I
acorns.
think,
So
I don't know.
I have
Let's
a
just,
master's degree. What's wrong with me?
why do woodpeckers peck?
But I think they're cute. They don't peck all day. Do you have woodpeckers that peck all day?
Not all day, but I mean, when they do peck, it's pretty loud. Okay, yes. So they do it to search for food or to create a nesting site. So
Maybe they just like the tree bugs.
I guess, but I just wonder if they could talk. What type of personality would you need to be that that's the level you go to get your bugs?
Yeah. That's just crazy. I would be, oh my God, my head would hurt so bad. But they're probably like, rocking out, like,
I was kind of thinking they're that type of person that like parties really hard, but then when you talk to them, they're kind of like, yeah, whatever. Because
now, what happened to this interview?
we
Woodpecker.
trailed. Well, I told you the category was called just silliness. I would never
Oh,
lie to you again.
yeah. No, I know you did it to the point. Gosh, so now when I hear a woodpecker, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, let's chill.
Yeah, totally. All right. So we're already at the last category. Our time is flying by. So this is the category called the quickfire category. And in my first episode, I had a category that was questions that are actually song lyrics. So I didn't really write the questions myself. I just took lyrics from songs. But for you, I have questions that are song titles.
Oh
So
dear.
all of these are actually titles of songs. So um, Moody Blues asked, "Isn't life strange?"
Yes.
Good
What do you?
answer.
Okay.
You don't have to elaborate if you don't want. It's quick
But
fire.
I so you want me to answer? Is it
Yeah,
life strange? Yes. Yes, it
answer the
is.
question they pose. Go ahead.
We're all looking forward to 2020 and there's this curveball.
I know.
You just don't know. It's strange.
Yeah. All right. So Moody Blues asked a good question for this point in time in history. Yes, life is very strange. All right. Whitney Houston asks, "Where do broken hearts go?"
Oh, I had a few. They don't go anywhere. You always have, it's always going to be here. But the broken heart shrinks. It shrinks, but it doesn't go anywhere. Because it kind of helps shape you, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thanks, Whitney. I like her.
Yeah. Whitney asking all the deep questions. All right. Jagged Edge featuring Nelly wants to know, where the party at?
Oh, always at my house, dude. Open door policy for reals. Well, it can be anywhere, but seriously, it's always at my house. You guys are always welcome.
Okay. Next time I'm in Colorado, I may
Right.
come by for some seafood, wine, and woodpeckers out the window. All right. Chicago asks, "What kind of man would I be?"
You be or me?
Me?
Who's
What kind of
I?
man would I be?
Oh, you'd be so nurturing, Marilisa. You'd be a very good looking man. Just gorgeous. So funny. And you'll be a man who is just going to take care of his family. You
Oh,
are such a nurturing woman and easygoing and just the whole package man.
thank you. Thank you. I did the Snapchat filter that turned me into a man, and I was not very handsome. I looked pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. All right. So here's the last question for you, coming from Michael Bolton. How am I supposed to live without you?
You can't. You can't. You might as well just die.
Oh, God. Everyone, this is my last interview now that I literally can't live without Yen, so I'm signing off.
I'm the yen factor for a reason. No. We'll always have our memories. I think you just like the idea of me.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sure. All right, Yen. Well, thank you so much for this. This has also been so much fun. It's great to catch up with you. But before we go, are there any last things you want to say to the world?
Oh my goodness. Please take care. Thank you for everybody who is trying to support our COVID-19 crisis right now. Just wear your mask. Don't spread it. I understand that we miss being with each other, but there's ways to do it while keeping everyone safe. And I just want to thank all like the essential workers and just keep your chin up. You got a bunch of us supporting you despite all the vocal minorities who are raising a lot of issues. But we got each other and just be kind. Just seriously be kind to one another. And thanks, Marilisa, for having me. That's been fun.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. All right, Yen. Well, thank you so much. Stay safe.